One of the remarkable things about us at UJ is our ability to constantly reach inside ourselves and to push ever, shall I put it differently, to push the envelope ever so little. And so one of the big exciting things in the coming year is the fact that our first year students will this year be required to have available a tablet or a notebook for teaching, learning and assessment purposes. It's the first time that this happens on the African continent, and it has attracted the interest and the excitement of many companies, in particular Apple, who have decided that UJ will be their benchmark university for purposes of the rollout of Apple technologies. And so some 500 of our first year class will receive Apple tablets. And I should say that iPad has also provided several Apple televisions to be integrated in the first year classrooms with the use of these tablets, not limited of course to Apple. And so there's great excitement about the first year group, and of course next year's first year group, until of course the undergrad program is fully covered in 3 to 4 years' time. And so there's great excitement about that, about what possibilities might arise from taking this opportunity. And so that's one of the very important issues that we taking on during the course of this year. The second big thing was a decision by Council to approve at the end of last year two things. Number one, the UJ 2025 Strat Plan, but also to approve what I call an activation program to activate that plan, called our Global Excellence and Stature Initiative, that will see the university invest over 600 million rands in the next 6-7 years in our flagship initiatives in particular. So there's great excitement about this. Obviously we will be rolling this out this year, making an initial investment of close to 60 million rands. And as we build momentum, so this investment will grow to a maximum of 110 million rands in 3 years' time, and a total investment of close to 700 million rands over the period of 6 to 7 years. So what is this investment going to go into? By flagships in particular, we mean that we would be making appointments at a new category called Distinguished Professor. So we will be making recruitment for distinguished professors across a range of areas, in particular focusing on flagships in teaching and learning, but also flagships in research. So for example, distinguished professors are and will be recruited in the area of art, design and architecture, particular focus on design, and if you like the equivalent area, not the equivalent but in research, a distinguished professor would be recruited to drive and to lead our work in the area of earth sciences, for that matter also in the area of African political thought and conversation, in sustainability, and a few other areas. And so the big idea is that we would be making these recruitments of really top scholars, both inside the university and outside the university, where we can find them, top scholars, really top internationally recognized and acclaimed scholars who would take leadership of these various teaching areas and research areas, and would help us grow our global reputation, grow our scholarly teaching and learning and scholarly activities in those areas. They would be supported by an increased number of postdoctoral fellows, by distinguished fellowships, doctoral fellowships and master's fellowships. So we hope then to plan to roll out this work over the period ahead. This is of course something we've been discussing for the last 12 months as to how we're going to elevate our global reputation in respect of our programs and in respect of our research. I should say also that in respect of teaching and learning, one of the new innovations that we will be introducing over this period is the creation of the post of assistant lecturer. And the assistant lecturer will be appointed in particular in our flagship programs, meaning our strong programs, well-known, well-established programs, but also in programs where the volume of teaching is considerable. And so the assistant lecturer is a permanent, well, not permanent, it's a contract appointment over the 3 to 5 year period. We'll be making close to 80 of these assistant lecturer appointments in order to assist, to strengthen those flagship programs, but also to relieve the exhaustive teaching load that we find in many of our other programs that are also in high demand. So those would be the two big things that immediately come to mind: the rollout of the tablets for our first year undergrad students, and then the big push to elevate the university's academic and global reputation.